Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. This is 7-7 part C. This is the third part of this lesson that we've done. So it's taken us over a week to get through this entire lesson on translations, but this is the last part finally. So today's probably the hardest, and it's going to be doing rotations. So the objective is to learn how to transform plain figures using rotations, so going in a circle. Probably be better if I wasn't trying to use a tool that went in a straight line. So how to rotate it. So a couple of vocabulary terms just to review. First is the transformation, which is any change in a figure's position or in its size. So a couple of types that we're doing are translations. We already did that one. Rotations, I already did that one. I lied. We are doing rotations today. And then reflections we already did last week too. So the resulting figure or the image of a rotation is going to be congruent, which means that it's the same as the original figure. We also have two new terms. So a rotation, it's going to be something that turns a figure around a point, and that point's going to be called the center of rotation. So like here's our center of rotation. So we've got some rules we're going to be following, and these, I'm not going to lie, are the trickiest of all the rules that we've done so far. So we have three different types of rotations. One rotation is going to be just going 180. So say we started in this quadrant. 180 is going to take us not to one, but to the second quadrant down here. So 2 away going clockwise. Is a 180. And the way that we're going to do that is to multiply both coordinates, x and y, by -1. So they become -x and -y. So that one's not too tough. Probably the easiest of all. The next type is if we're doing a clockwise rotation, 90 degrees. Clockwise means that it goes just like the order of a clock, which is this way. So it's like if this were the image, the x up here, it would be going clockwise just 90 degrees, which is just down here. And the way you're going to do that is by multiplying each x coordinate by -1. So x comma y becomes, well, it would become -x comma y, but then you're also going to flip, so it eventually becomes y comma -x. So like I said, these are definitely the trickiest of all the things we've seen so far. And then the last one, 90 degrees counterclockwise, and we'll do examples of all these, is if you had your your image located up here, you're going to be going 90 degrees in the opposite direction that a clock would. And the way that you'll do that, the rule, is to multiply the y coordinate by -1 and then flip-flop it. So an x comma y would become a -y comma x. So let's go ahead and see some examples of this. So our first example is to graph the rotation of the triangle 180 degrees. So this is the one where we're going to be taking our image and going 180 over into this quadrant. So we're going to be using our rule at the very top here, which is to multiply both coordinates by -1. So if our original x was at -1, our new x is going to be -1 times -1 is +1, and then positive 2 is going to become -2. So the image of x, which is this point right here, is going to be at 1 comma -2. So right here. Okay, up next we've got our y, which is original coordinate of 2 comma 3. So we're going to multiply both of those coordinates by -1. So 2 becomes -2, and 3 is going to become -3. So now I'm going to go to -2, -3, and that's going to be the location of my y prime. And finally, I'm going to move my z a rotation of 180. So I multiply again both of them by -1. So that has an original location of 3 comma 0. So my 3 is going to become -3, and 0, because you can't really change it, is still just going to be 0. So I'm going to come to -3, 0, and I'm going to put my dot there. So now we've got all of our coordinates right here. You can see them. And I put each in a different color so you could kind of correspond to them to which math went with which math. But that is a rotation about the around origin with a rotation of 180 degrees. So that was a we do. This one, number 2, is a you do. I lied. It's a we do. And it's going to be the counterclockwise. So we really need to come over and I'm going to scratch these two out. Look at what our rule is. So a refresher of the rule, we're going to multiply each y coordinate by -1. Then we're going to flip-flop it to get our final location. So if point A was at 4, 4, both positive, we're going to multiply first our y times -1. So this becomes 4, -4. But then we want to flip it because that's what our rule tells us to do. So it becomes -4, 4. So for point A, the image of, we're going to go to -4, 4. So it's up here. So our next point is originally located, point B is located at 4, 1. So to do the first step, we're going to multiply the y coordinate of 1 by -1. Which makes this new coordinate 4, -1. But to do the full rule, we have to actually flip that. So our coordinate's going to be located at -1, 4. So over on my graph, I'm going to go to -1, 4, and that's my point for B prime. And the last coordinate for my triangle is going to be at 2 over 2 up 1, so 2, 1. So first I need to multiply my y of 1 by -1. So this becomes 2, -1. Then I need to flip it. So C prime is going to be located at -1, 2. So I'm going to go to -1, 2, and that's where my new point's going to be located. So now I just need to connect my dots to pull my shape together. And I just kicked my cat off the bed because she gets kind of annoying sometimes. So that is why after it's been connected, and that is what a rotation of 90 degrees counterclockwise should look like. Looks like you just took it and twisted it that way. Okay, number 3 is our last we do for just going through these new rules. This one's going to be a 90 degree, wow, I can't write, a 90 degree clockwise rotation. So last we just did a counterclockwise, this one we're not, we're doing clockwise. So the rule, instead of multiplying y by -1, we're going to multiply x by -1. So for our first coordinate of f, the first step is to multiply x by -1. So this becomes, instead of -4, becomes +4, -2. But then because it's a 90 degrees, we have to flip. So we're going to do -2, 4. So in order to do a 90 degree rotation clockwise for f, we're going to go -2 all the way up to +4 and put our first prime. Next we're going to go to G. So G is at 1, +1, -3. So we're going to first multiply 1 by -1. So we get to -1, -3. But then for the second step we have to flip it. So G prime is going to be located at -3, -1. So over here I'm going to go to -3, -1, and that is going to be the location of G prime. And my final location, or I'm sorry, dot coordinate is going to be H, which was originally located at -2, -4. So first start by multiplying -2 by -1. So this turns into 2, -4. And then for my last step, you want to flip that. So H prime should be located at -4, +2. So now let's connect our new coordinates. So there it is. That is what it looks like if we were to rotate the triangle 90 degrees clockwise that direction. So these really are going to be big on following the rules to see where the new image is going to lie, because they're not as easy to see, I don't think anyways. With my brain doesn't do a good job of doing this on my own. So for you do, we're going to start with just a coordinate 1, 4 after a 180 degree rotation. So this is the one where you're going to do both x and y times -1 to get your new coordinates. So go ahead and do that one on your own. Okay, number 5 is also a you-do, and you're using 90 degrees clockwise. So you're multiplying x by -1, then flipping. Okay, number 6 is another you-do. And then this one you're going to give the coordinates of 1, 4 after a 90 degree counterclockwise rotation. So we're using the rule where we multiply y by -1 and then flip. So go ahead and do that, and then you can check your answer in just a second. Okay, so all the ones you've done so far have just been simple little coordinate rotations. So now we're going to try an actual example for a you-do where you have to do the coordinates to make it work. So this is a 180 degree rotation, so you're using both x and y times -1. So go ahead and try this one and see if you can do it on your own. Alright, be sure to have yours checked and either turn it in or have Mrs. Painter check it and write it down before you head out today. If not, get it turned in to me so that you can get credit for it before Friday, or Thursday, which is the last day of this quarter. Good job, guys.